I want to spend the bulk of our time talking about cancer and talking about smoke-free, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the doping investigation that is going on now. Obviously, you're welcome to say what you choose to or don't choose to on that, but I think people are wondering, this has been going on now for months into years. What's going on with that?
Well, yours is right. I mean, obviously, for me, maybe not obviously, but it started a long time ago. It started 10 years ago with a lot of talk and speculation, which is, you know, I think is part and parcel to being successful in what is widely viewed as, maybe a dirty sport. But we see in sports, you see these, these spectacular performances. You have a guy run 2:03 in Boston last weekend. I mean, that's the fastest time that's ever been run in the marathon. I read that article and I think, I wonder what the press conference after the race is like. Do they ask the guy, hey, what about this, what about that,
right,
and question a superhuman performance? And you can look at it with a lot of different examples and athletes, and if it's Phelps or if it's Federer, or a lot of guys that just have done stuff that has never been done before.
And you think there's a culture of doubt that comes around that?
Oh, I think there's a culture of doubt in our society in general. I think the media drives a lot of that. I think, as you probably well know, and people in this room are sharp enough to know, that it's a competitive business too. And so everybody's trying to sort of scoop the next person, and the media, the base of the media has become broader and broader. As you just said, if you're here with your phone on and you're tweeting, et cetera, you are basically acting as a journalist.
You're the media.
You're broadcasting your perspective and your view of this conversation. So in the old days, it started, and I haven't answered your question yet. I want to get back to it, but sorry. In the old days, it started as an AM radio, and then it expanded, and then we had TV, and then you had 3 TV channels, then you had cable TV, and then you had the internet and blogs and Twitter, Facebook, camera phones. Everybody's reporting on everything, and so even the mainstream media, and with regards to myself, there's always the talk. Well, there's this investigation. Will there be an indictment? Will there be all these things? The truth of the matter is that I've been indicted in the media. The media reports on these things.
There's been no official sanction, no official indictment of you of any kind,
absolutely not,
resulting from any of this stuff?
No, and it's been going on for a long time. So,
have you even been identified officially as a target of an investigation? Don't you get it? I watched enough nighttime television to know you're supposed to get a target letter, aren't you, if you're a target of an investigation?
Correct. No, and I have not.
You've never received a target letter?
No.
So this investigation is just basically one that we're aware of, and that we hear things about or read things about, but there's been no official target letter that you received.
And we read a lot about it, and I think people ask fair questions. They say, they'll ask, why is the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, investigating the Tour de France, or the alleged misconduct at the Tour de France, which is obviously in France, 10 years ago?
The F in FDA doesn't stand for France, I think, right?
No, it doesn't. No. But so there are those questions. They are now being asked, and I think that people have not been given the answers to that, but they're waiting on the answers. The other troubling thing too is, and again, to tie the media into it, not to blame anybody, has been, at least in my situation, has been the leaks, the issue of the leaks.
Who's leaking?
Well, see, look at that person. Didn't pay attention.
That person is leaking.
Look at that.
Stop leaking.
Who is that?
Yeah. Hope it's nobody with a yellow van.
Is that you?
No, he's just gone to the bathroom. It's fine, actually. Who's leaking? Seriously, who's?
We know. I think we know who's leaking, but I'm not. I mean, you guys know who's leaking, but it wouldn't be right for me to say right now, because obviously we don't know for sure. But anyways, with those leaks leads to the indictment in the press, which then leads to the indictment in the minds and in the space of the people.
Yeah.
And so that's the troubling thing. But that's the society we live in now.
And that's the status of things right now. It's ongoing. No indictment. No target letter.
No. Having said all that, I'm going to repeat what I always say. I'm not going to let it distract me.
Well, and I want to transition from this to that, because it would be easy for it to distract anybody. And the reality is your name is on the building over there on East 6th Street, the foundation that we said $400 million since '97. You have gone out to California to lobby for a tax increase recently to fund billions of dollars of cancer research out there, a tax increase on cigarettes.
I was going to say, do we have to say tax increase?
Well, that's what it is, though, right? I mean, it is.
Well,
it's on cigarettes.
There's a slight increase in a pack of cigarettes.
But the point is, you've done the work you have, but that's a tax increase. A slight increase is still an increase, and that's fine, and it's defensible if you choose to defend it. The point is that you have used your celebrity over the years, a considerable celebrity, on the foundation's front, on some of these other fronts, And the question is, to what degree does all this stuff we've been talking about impact your ability to do that?
Okay, so there's a couple ways to look at that. We can, I can look at it, and if you want to just consider it as the brand, as the package, you can look at it with regards to the foundation. So that could be how much money we've raised in 2010 versus 2009 when there was none of this talk. And then we could also compare the first 3 months of 2011. You can also, I can look at it as an athlete and say, okay, has Nike called me and had questions? Has Anheuser-Busch called and had questions? Has all these people called? And
Dropping you as an endorser.
correct, which has not happened. Not even been a call to question, which has been amazing for me, for them to show that kind of support. With regards to the foundation, we haven't seen anything in terms of a negative impact.
No fall off in fundraising?
No, and I don't want to misquote, but I believe, well, I know that 2010 was much bigger than 2009. We raised about $50 million. 2011, the first 3 months, were up about 20% over 2010. And this comes at a time when most nonprofits, as you well know, and most of you probably well know, are not doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, there are large organizations that are losing millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in funding because of the economy, because of people's willingness to give or not give. And so there's a lot of stuff going on besides what might be written in the press or might be speculated.
But no impact.
But no impact so far, and
Right.
I mean, we're very fortunate for that. We have obviously a loyal fan base and group of supporters, and I think they recognize that we're doing important work, and they recognize that this is a complicated disease. It's going to take time, and they've been amazing supporters, not just here in Austin, but all over the world.
Around the world.
Yeah.